skiers, it's Bob with skiessentials.com. Welcome to our 2024 ski test. We got a Fischer Transalp 105 CTI for you today, and a pretty interesting addition into Fischer's touring market. Kind of the trend lately has been these hybrid touring skis, Blizzard, Hustle, Nordica, Enforcer, Unlimited, that take an existing footprint of a ski, a popular model, and then just make a lighter version of the core. So they're adding, a touring capability to the ski, but you're keeping a lot of the things that have made it popular as a downhill ski over the years. Fischer has done some of that, but certainly not all of it. So they've borrowed a lot of technologies from their Ranger line, even from their Nordic world, and then kind of made it their own thing in terms of being on more the touring side of the spectrum. They're still trying to keep Transalp separate from a lighter Ranger, and I think they've done a pretty good job with that, especially with the use of different construction techniques in terms of keeping the ski pretty light, as well as a little bit stiffer, which ends up being better for uphill efficiency and just getting more energy and responsiveness out of the ski in more technical zones and tricky spots. Makes a lot of sense from that blending the uphill efficiency with the downhill performance. This thing is very much in that mid-range, whereas some of those other hybrid skis are slightly heavier for uphill performance, but they do really well in downhill. Conversely, something that is even more touring specific, a randonnée style ski or something that is, ideally designed to get uphill as fast as possible with less of an attempt to make it a downhill ski. This one kind of splits the difference and blurs that line quite a bit while remaining its own thing rather than a lighter Ranger. So we are built with their AirTech TI wood core. So what they're doing is they're milling sections out of the core in a vertical manner, basically, reverse stringers. So they're removing wood, in a vertical manner, just milling it out of the ski and taking the weight out that way. On top of the core, they do have their carbon stringers, which run vertically. That adds to the stiffness of the ski. And then they have their Shape TI. This is where we see that Ranger influence come in. It's not really the same looking laminate, but it's a lot of the same philosophy where they have these extending arms in the forebody and through the tail that cover the edges, and then a notch cut out through the middle. This allows the ski to articulate as well as reducing the overall amount of metal. So you're going to feel that edge hook up when you're on that inside edge, and then it's able to just be a little bit more smooth and stable on the uphill outside edge. And then that metal goes almost full width for the binding zone for where these toe and heel plates are. And then in the middle, there's a central spine, but that's about it. There's nothing more that extends out. So interesting use of metal, certainly proven in that Ranger line that they can shape that metal effectively to create a particular effect of the ski. In this case, it is putting more power to the edges and the forebody and through the tail. But the tips and tails are left unencumbered by that metal, and that even sidewall, this orange part, kind of half cap in the front and then tapers to full cap in the tails and in the tips. But still kind of a thick core profile here. But since they remove so much of that wood, it doesn't end up weighing a whole lot. With this tech binding, it's actually a tech demo binding. So your weights will end up being different than these weights. This is a 185, and with this demo Fischer tech binding, we're at 2,400 grams. So not the lightest setup up there, but you do want to use these with this more technical setup, boots and bindings, to keep this thing more on the touring side of the spectrum rather than a hybrid option for a boot and a binding that just will add to the weight and kind of take away from the overall experience. I think it's a better idea to leave these as more tech oriented. But yeah, pretty stiff. That carbon does go a long way in stiffening this ski, and that's adding to the efficiency on the uphills as well as giving you just a bit more confident feel on the downhills. And then we see kind of this, this is where we see kind of Fischer's Ranger influence come in, is kind of in the shape and the profile. You know, this looks a lot like a Ranger 108 shovel, you know, with this kind of early tapered, flat, square shovel tip area and a decent amount of rocker underfoot and splay. So for a 105, this thing's going to float great. You know, it is on the stiffer side, so it's not going to be terribly playful, but it does have the width and the lighter weight in order to make it kind of stand out in a flotation standpoint. Not a whole lot of splay back here, a little bit more directional and business oriented. There's certainly more playful mid 105 oriented skis that are around this weight that are more playful in the snow, like a Line Vision 108, you know, equally as light, but also has a lot more playfulness going on with it. This is more of that directional business-like style of ski. And, you know, flatter tail is helpful on the uphills because your skin is in contact with the snow more, so it's just more efficient from a climbing perspective. And slight taper in the back, but not a whole lot. That's going to make this thing really effective in, you know, crud, chop, windblown stuff. You know, less than ideal conditions is where this thing is really going to be helpful, especially versus something that's more playful and drifty. But definitely make sure you check out this ski here at skiessentials.com, and we will see you out there on the hill. Bye.